Good morning. Probably could tell I didn't really sleep. Really didn't. Look, it's like 6 in the morning. I'm gonna go get a $5 Burger King special. I think that'll get me right off the app. But I decided it'll be a good time to do a good, a theory video. So I figured you rather look at me. I mean, I could flip you guys around if I could figure it out. Let's see if I could figure it out. I don't know, some way to flip you guys around. I'm not gonna go through all that right now. Anyway, but I just kind of want to show you how nice it is on a Miami morning. Very few times I'm actually worth a damn for it, and it seems to be the night I didn't sleep that I got the energy to fucking ride it in the morning to get some Burger King. But anyway, that's what happens when you do hard work. Sometimes you'll be so wired that you're just like on and on and on. And I see how those NASCAR guys would say they will be working on shit and then wake up, like they don't even wake up, just right back to it. Yeah, when you be doing something, you get like that. But anyway, all right. The engines. So we're gonna focus on two specific motors. This will be general engine theory, but I'm dealing with two specific motors here. Now, of course, don't want to be pigeonholed to any of this. I mean, I'm an engine guy. I'm not specifically a Honda guy or nothing. I'm not, whatever. I'm not gonna lowball it either. But I'm not on that. Non-judgmental on anything. I just like to talk about sometimes just theory. So here we go. F22a1. What does that mean? It means it's a 2.2 liter F series engine that Honda. Look at that lake. Honda, I don't know, designed in the mid 80s. They got their D series together. It was like with like some kind of new wave engine that they were getting this 4-valve deal together, single overhead cam. And also they're working on VTEC at the time. This started about 1984. There's a name for it. I forget the name right now. I can piece that up to you in the future. But I know that's where the lineage was. So for the fourth generation Accord was released in '89 as a 90 model year. The base model was the F22a1. It's 8.8 to 1 compression. So it's low compression. It's got slightly dished pistons with slight valve reliefs. What's the other specs? Long stroke engine. It's a excuse me. Let me get this right. It's a 95 millimeter stroke with 85 millimeter pistons. So it's definitely a longer stroke. You got rod lengths and all that, and what else can I say? But that's basically the meat of it. Double balance shafts, so it's a really smooth running motor. That's the nice thing about it. I like how the balance shafts actually make the motor feel like it's a bigger motor. It's as far as smoothness in the engine bay. Bolts up with any FH series transmission. Bolts up with H23 manifold specifically, and not the VTEC, the non-VTEC. Block can be used for swaps. Head is actually the best part about that motor. And reason being is that ports are huge. Got huge ports, a really nice valve included angles. With larger bore, you can put larger valves in the engine. As it is, it still doesn't flow at stock as well as the smaller ported F23. They figured out how to squeeze out a little bit more low lift flow and stuff like that, which kind of, I think a lot of the F23's power is found there. They always put a tiny cam in it. The cam was at 1 millimeter. The F22 was like 192. Basically on both sides, maybe some offset, maybe 192, 190 intake exhaust, because they always, Honda, whatever reason, likes a reverse split on the cam profile. So everybody's talking about get the F22a6, right? The A6 cam. The difference between the cam is 4 degrees, and it's not even any difference in the overlap. Overlap doesn't change. It's just that they added a little bit of lobe separation with a little bit more lift to achieve this on the back ends of the cam, these 4 degrees, which you know, with the dual plane intake, with the IAB secondaries. So you got the primaries and secondaries. So you got either 4 ports on your intake. Here goes Burger King. Or 8 ports. They would be operated. It'd come on at RPM somewhere in the 4,000 range, and they would keep that low RPM torque correct. So I'm gonna splice up another video after I get this together, and we're gonna talk about the rest of F22a1, what the differences were, what the power outputs Honda advertise, and what the power outputs people get, and what mods do to those engines. Then we'll go into F23, and then we'll go into other relationships with how you can apply you know, aftermarket reground cam, whatever, Bisimoto, who really figured out how this motor can really perform early on. And then we'll go into what F23 can do for you and the actual hidden potential of that engine. So let's get into it. Now, F22, let's talk about what they could do with other countries. So I had to look at this. Oh, what were they doing in other countries? How much would a catalytic delete make? You know, so what I know with an A1, with the A1 cam, just trying to get right. You know, it's the morning time. I'm sorry about all that video shakiness and everything. I know how it is, but you know what? You're here, you're here. So they were able to get like over 150 Honda rated from like some kind of spec somewhere else. I think they had a bit more compression, and they had the same intake, the same small port. You would call it like a really narrow, long tube tunnel ram, I guess you could call it, on that. With this A1 cam. You know, nothing special, nothing special on it. Even with the stock manifold and all that, no catalytic, maybe some compression. They got 150 out of it. Maybe a little bit different ECU tuning, so that shows you what actual tuning can do. But then again, yeah, you know, if I got that Arabian ECU, I don't know what market it was for, but I'm not into that. By that point, I'd actually get a real tune and O2 and, you know, dyno, all that deal there, and you know, all the right stuff. Single cam, so I'm not really I wouldn't need a sprocket, you know, vernier for adjustable cam timing. I mean, I could, but it's just kind of unneeded. But I know you can make 150 with an A1. Told you the cam difference. I'm clicking. Told you the cam difference with 4 degrees for A6, but they had that nice intake on there, and they got a what's called a PT3 ECU is what is actually the stock F22a1. PT6 is the A6. Now, the F22a4 had a 4-into-2-into-1 tubular header, and with the catalytic, they were claiming 130 horsepower, like 142 foot-pound of torque, same as the A6. A1 stock, you know, the lowest F22 they got was 125 horsepower, rated by Honda, 137 foot-pounds. But there's guys that will open that same motor up with nice intake, you know, not all the restrictive stuff, full flow exhaust, etc. Go to the dyno, and they could pull 130 wheel out of it. So it's good for that. But you know, it's about all you can really expect. I mean, if you really do some magic, maybe it's just a little bit windy. You can do some magic, maybe pull a little bit more out of it. So it'll feel good. You can get some torque and throttle response. That was part of my first ratcheting out with the engine, and really get like 150 foot-pounds of torque real low, so you really can feel that, you know, in the car like that. That's what really made the car move a lot better and feel a lot better. So you can do your own research on these things. Now, F23, it was rated at 152 horsepower and like 150 foot-pounds. Let's go about RPMs. F22, between the models, the horsepower. Let's start with torque first of all. Torque peaks would be anywhere between, like, I don't know, I'd say like around 4,000 really, to anywhere up to over like 45 maybe. You know, they had their rating, but you know, that's what I remember anecdotally. You know, empirically, really. You know, that's what I felt. But and that's how the car moved. You know, moved better like that. That's, you could, you know, I could time it. The F23 has two cams. It has the small cam, which doesn't even open up one of the intake valves, just enough to leave a little bit of whatever pooling fuel can evacuate into the cylinder real high up near the spark plug to allow a stratified lean burn deal going on there at the right timing, while the other intake valve promotes the swirl being offset and having a very mild, like 178, like a LG4 305 Chevy, like, you know, where just that cam would just peak torque at 2,000 and will run out of breath at 4. And I don't even think Honda has the map for it on the ECU past 4,500, so it'll probably start to stutter after that. You know, I tried to find that missing sleep I lost. I mean, I don't know how I lost it. Not sure if I found it, but I did find a secret that I think we already knew. Coffee can put you to sleep. Yeah. How about that? I don't know about them apples, but there's some to that. There's some divine intervention on that. I can't explain it. It's gotta, I don't know, maybe it balances you out. I'm not sure what it does, but you know, they talk about coffee to wake up, coffee to wake up. No, I drank this coffee and it got me down. I actually got some sleep. But anyway, that was a pretty good idea to go over there. Caught a good sunrise effects, whatever. It wasn't the true sunrise, but it was close enough to shoot. I got the motor parted up, broke down, whatever, however you want to talk about it. The F22a1 with the M2a5. No, excuse me, H2a5. I always get that wrong. I believe it's H2a5. The stock F22a1, you know, base transmission, which actually has the longest gears. Go figure. Even the one I have, I forget the number on it, just the smallest, like by a few miles an hour, at the same RPM, shorter on 3, 4, and 5, which also makes 3 closer to 2. I like that. Anyway, just by the littlest amount. And I'm not sure about the reverse deal on this, because for whatever reason, at some point the reverse just, nope. But I'm not sure about the new one. Yeah, sure. I mean the technical new one. We say the new one, talking about what's gonna go in next. I mean, these parts are all, you know, over 20 years old a piece, but at least, but or maybe the engine. I'm not sure. I think that came out of a 2000. But yes, it's still over 20 years. The F23 I'll be doing a swap with. Here it is. So I want to finish the theory video. I'm actually going to switch to another picture to kind of get the mood set on, like, talking about this F22 and what they're, you know, what the deal is with them. F23 and what the deal is with that. Here's a port on a F22a1. I mean, the head, the actual casting on this is the same for basically all the F22a 90 and 93 headed motors. You know, if I was smart, I would have gotten my tripod, but I just don't have it right now. So back with the shakes. Surprisingly, this was just pulled apart last night, and this is what it was. This is surprisingly clean. This is really clean. Very, very very impressed. I mean, I used to run mixtures that would, of course, would include but not limited to, you know, different kind of sprays to help clean it out. Also, I would run 2-stroke oil in it a little bit just to keep everything nice. If the car would sit for a while, I wanted everything to kind of have not to dry out. And everything worked out. It really is. And I know the fuel pump and everything in there is good. Everything stayed really well. Very impressed with it. And anything else could easily be, you know, it's not really a big deal on the other sides. The plugs looked pretty decent. I mean, they worked. One cylinder got a bit corroded from probably sitting. You know, it sat without running maybe since about 2019. Last time I got to fire up. Some point in that year, earlier in that year, I'm sure. Um, or not. I'm not sure. I probably had a buddy come over with and jump me because I didn't have a car to jump it with at the time. The battery at that point had been so depleted. I didn't get a battery for a sitting car. You know what I mean? And I had already totaled the Legend by that point. So it's kind of an in between period there. The the little pre period where I actually got a prophecy said, "Yo, 2019 is pretty much gonna be the last year like this." And I thought I was gonna be on some Y2K stuff that, oh, 2020, it's gonna be Y2K. It's gonna hit on January 1st, 2020. But lo and behold, we actually had the COVID era hit and peak, and now we were doing stuff like this now. I have a freaking bug light on here, but that doesn't catch no CM, so it really is like it's just a poorly functioning neon light that I should unplug. Um, but this is it. These are the intake valves on a. This is specifically an F22a1. Where I left off, I was talking about the last video. I was just kind of giving it the intro, but when I was on bike, I was talking about the general specs of the engines. So just running by again, 85 millimeter bore on these F22s. 85 bore, 95 millimeter stroke. So they're always a bit under square, which is pretty good. There's reasons for that. There's tuning for that. There's understanding necessary for that. I appreciated that for the way I went about getting what I wanted from this engine. There's more you can get from these engines though, which is the key. But we'll get into that just a bit later. So we went into that. The F23 has a 86, a 1 millimeter larger bore and piston with 2 millimeter longer stroke. It's a 97 millimeter stroke that yields the 2.3 liter displacement on it. It's it's just one of the parts of it. Probably just a little bit more round, but these cylinders always had a nice dish, real well. Get that whole, not even a hemisphere, but a spherical kind of combustion chamber going on, because the chamber is a pent roof. Trying to get that spherical going for that kind of burn. And contrary to popular belief, a larger combustion chamber means you could fit more air in there. It means you can achieve what is effectively like a higher displacement. Now, of course, the static compression is not going to be as high. And another one too, the expansion ratio is not going to be as high, of course, because it's always got that same. In this case, will be I'm sure here it's more closer to 9.0 to 1 or more, because the head had been decked one time. It had been but in an OEM sense, I guess the previous owner had something go on with it. I have it in the service records. So it's a little bit hotter than stock, probably why it felt a little bit better too than it should have. But it's a big, nice, wide port. Now I have an H23 with the 8 ports on the intake manifold, and you can put nice throttle bodies and everything on that. Here we'll bolt right up to this real well. No, like exactly. That alone would get people on pure stock builds a good clip. I mean, I would beg to say they can gain 10 horsepower. They can get more from it, of course, if they optimize it better. But this head right here is showing you what was the deal for when they were getting out of the 80s with it. So everything's smoothed out. It's real well done from this factory. I mean, you can do more to port these heads, but if you can lift your valves high enough, that's where these heads shine. Only in the higher lift, the highest lifts. Surprisingly, with the much smaller ports and everything, and the offset, and everything going on with the F23, with the smaller ports, has better flow for the lift values that it experiences. So that's one of the differences there. So to keep the videos compressed, I'm gonna go ahead and splice this up with the next one. I'm gonna finish off with fundamental details and differences. These, not everything, I can't say everything in one piece, but I want to give higher compression, excuse me, I want to give higher quality source material, and then compress that instead of turning down the quality of the source material in order to kind of get the best video output with my limited production means at this point in time. But the content will be coming out, so we're going to come back here, continue talking a little bit more about this, some differences between, we'll even start talking a little bit about H, what do you get with H, what can you get with these engines, what can you get with the F23 and stuff like that. We'll get to that just in a second. To finish the theory and intention video, gonna give an in-depth look at the F22a1 head. Here you can see what's going on there. The valve angle is narrower than F23 noticeably, meaning that it's not as they're flatter versus being a more of a tighter up pent roof, centralized spark plug, etc. We'll look at this port. I'd like to get you a port port CCs on the head, stock head. I mean, it's all about the seat, so let's always remember that what's going on here at the seat is definitely the most important part. So that's when I get this. Okay, let's do the intention. I have a full F23a1 swap that's about to occur. I'm going to keep that together as much as I can, get it running in the car with the mount situation and, excuse me, you know, the resistor delete on the injectors. I'll have it running OBD1 with as a F22b1 ECU. But I have F23 ECUs, etc. Excuse me, F22 ECUs for the non-VTEC from earlier. That I could run this head on that block, this block. Well, not that block. This block, I'm selling it. I'll probably take the back pipe off of it, because sometimes you need that pipe to do the swap right, to get that pipe right. The old transmission, there it is. The old flywheel is gone. All the parts and everything is here. Plugs in that cover. Got a radiator back there. Got a MLS gasket, multi-layer steel gasket, head gasket for this over there. But what's going on is the finishing touches. This is about a 50 something, I forget what it is, close, it's in the 50s cc combustion chamber. It's pretty good. The dish piston, of course, has, let's go over to that. I can get you to that. Of course, all these songs I don't have the copyright to them. Mount, MLS, I got them, I guess they rotated over, so now they're about even in the holes on average. They've got a small dish to them. See the valve release. The dish is a bit bigger on F23 because it added displacement up on their head. Still a 50 something millimeter head, excuse me, CC head. With more displacement, of course, would increase the displacement. They're at 9.3. This was at 8.8. This head had been decked, so it's probably already would have supported about a 9.0 on a stock block. But this head is going to be something that I'm going to work on over time. This is the valve cover. I'll probably put it back on it now to you know, keep it sealed up and shit like that for the time being. So I got a manifold for this. Gonna probably get some valve job, springs, retainers, clips, of course a cam, and I'm missing something. The valve, yeah, the valve seating. Probably replace some valves, not all of them. Get them, you know, put in. I don't know if I can seat them up. I'll do the best I can do. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. At that point, I already have a running engine. It'll do what I needed to do to get there. To finish the theory, these heads with the cam and everything, you put them on F23 heads, man, bro, performance. A lot of this got to do with David Vizard, all the guys at West Tech, Busy Moto. You got guys like Driven Films Production. Got a lot of other guys. Been doing it to girls and guys, everybody, you know, PFI Speed, everybody, you know, all the guys, and even guys like Aaron Salter that was working on alternative fueling technologies. It's a very interesting story about what happened to him. So that's why I'm actually scared to talk about this, the segment on my brand called Applied Technologies. So I'd like to really increase the lost energies in internal combustion engines to get it back for basically what will be a percentage gain in effective economy. Power can be added by no means. I mean, I can get good power out of these. They have a lot of good stuff going on. I'll go into more theory, but when you start throwing boost, a lot of the NA tuning starts to become moot. Can you handle the boost? What octane will you need? What's your compression ratio? Blah, 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 blah. So I'll probably keep the compression ratio low. I would like to get a millimeter larger piston in here. It'll be about close to 24. So it'll be like an F24 with that head, with a nice cam in it. This block is for sale. It's not this block. I'm just using it for reference. Not this transmission either. I got another transmission. Just got to use this for parts. But I like this head. On the block, you know, and further in the future when I can kind of, you know, see what's up with it. I like the efficiency I'll gain with the current motor and how it's like a Malaise era V8, sort of trying to get the most mileage and efficiency and all that. And the time we are now is the type of thing we need, and that's what Aaron Salter was working on. But do your research. You know, I'm gonna apply technologies. I don't want the heat, man. I don't want the smoke, so I'm not gonna go over here and start saying the names and everything like that. But there are things we can do to improve the efficiency on an internal combustion engine that'll mean that you can go the same distance and pay less at the pump. So we'll continue with these theory videos. We'll get a little bit more into detail, but this is to finish out the series that I had just finished doing the first parts of, and we'll continue with the build and everything here. So here we are. Thank you so much for being with us. There'll be more shout outs. I'm missing a lot of people still. There's a lot of great guys out there, you know, Powered Nation, Engine Power, you know, all the guys like, of course I said David Vizard. You got guys like, let's see if I can remember. All these other guys, man. There's so many other guys been doing a lot of good things. But the one that needs to be remembered right now is, of course, Aaron Salter, because he goes right along with the other man before him. If I had his name right now, Myers also, you know, do your research. So it's hard to talk about these guys. There's a lot of other people. Thank you for your support and your contributions. So we'll be here again with Tall and Black Tuning brand from Super Eagle label company, really. It's just a label company. Also representing Maximum X parts, services, and upgrades. So here we are. We'll continue to do this for you, and I don't want to talk as much about the nonsense. We'll go back into more theory for you, but these are just to get you started on our theory here. So once again, thank you for staying with us. Bye-bye. Of course, I'm back with you again. That's the pressure switch. Here you go. That's the pressure switch. This is F22a1. Of course, it's a non-VTEC engine. So they have this oil pressure check for the head. If you have a VTEC engine, you don't need this. Take this out. If you got or VTEC head. VTEC head, take that out. Non-VTEC head, put it in. Very important piece to have. So say I got a VTEC block and I want to put a non-VTEC head on it. I need this. Say I put a VTEC head on this block, which I'm not doing. I have to take that out. That's one big thing. Another little fact is the stock flywheel is about 19 pounds. If I remember any of the little things that you want to know, stock flywheel is about 19 pounds. That plug, that central pressure switch head plug, keep it in with a VTEC, with a non-VTEC head. With a VTEC head, take it out.